Despite the attempt at rabbinic humor, was your turkey kosher? A critical analysis of the laws, famous verse in the 18th chapter of the book of Vayikra, Leviticus, "U'v'chokotehem lo telechu," which means don't follow the Gentile ways. Despite our attempt at being funny in the title, the subject is a very sensitive one and needs clarification. I'm going to begin by defining the terms of our title. I'm going to assume over here that everybody here knows what a turkey is. Though in Brooklyn, I am sure everybody here knows what a turkey is. However, the word kosher is much more difficult to define. We all know what the word kosher means in conventional, popular sense, as it relates to food items. However, its meaning in contemporary jargon has expanded as well. So I'll ask you the question. If you're a businessman, and somebody comes to you and asks you the question, is this business deal kosher? What does it mean?
Is it honest? Is it fair?
Good. Is it legitimate? Is it honest? Is it fair? Correct.
Is it legal?
Is it legal? Good. Good. Glad you said that. If I ask you this question, is this person kosher? I get this call all the time, where people will call me up and ask me about the kosherness status of a particular child for their son or daughter. It doesn't mean, obviously, that if you shech that person, you could eat the person. That would be confusing terms. And once you begin to confuse terms, you may have a problem. So what does it mean if I say is that person kosher? In a Syrian context, it means...
Adami, decent.
Adami, decent? No! Not money. It means whether or not that person is marriable based on, is there a conversion in the family? Because if you're in the Syrian community, that happens to be an issue, obviously. So, therefore, the word kosher actually has now an expanded sense, in a sense whether the person is straight or honest, or a person is somebody that my child can marry. Good. So when we ask the question, is this turkey kosher? It could be, yes, it is conventionally kosher, but it was not kosher. Meaning that though it's conventionally kosher, you would not be allowed to eat that turkey. It's kosher in the first sense, but not kosher in the second sense. As strange as that may sound. Many, many, many have taken the position that though the turkey is actually conventionally kosher, you may not eat this turkey on the holiday of Thanksgiving. It actually was the second question that I was asked upon coming to Deal, New Jersey in 1982, the fall. People asked me the question, can we eat turkey on Thanksgiving? So my answer, of course, was, yes, if it's kosher, you can. No, if it's not kosher. And I meant, of course, that I thought they were laughing at me. They were joking. Who ever heard the notion that one cannot eat turkey on Thanksgiving? I didn't know that it was a raging controversy in Deal, New Jersey at that point. Good to see you. No, that's my last one.
Sorry. No problem.
You come late, you pay a price. But you don't have to pay the price because I have an extra one. He's lovely. Give him his own. We love him. He's a good guy. Got one extra. In Deal, New Jersey, when I came in 1982, the community was dominated by the right-wing kollel, who held that we cannot eat turkey on Thanksgiving, even if it's kosher in the conventional sense. So I was shocked. Living 7 years in Boston at that time and 7 years at university at that point in time, nobody ever even raised the issue whether or not one can eat turkey on Thanksgiving. But it was a major, major defining issue in Deal, New Jersey of 1982. I not realizing that I was actually defining myself, hopefully not as a turkey at that point in time, but in the eyes of many, yes. In the eyes of the right wing, I defined myself, and I was completely oblivious to this entire situation. A raging controversy. Somebody asked the question, and I said, yes, publicly, of course you can eat turkey on Thanksgiving. And that defined me on another side of the tracks, literally and figuratively, from those who were rabbinically involved at that point in Deal, New Jersey. So the question that now comes to the fore, what is the substratum of their position? I would argue if the turkey is kosher, What's asur? What's prohibited about it? Their answer is, of course, Uvchukotehem lo telechu. You're not allowed to walk in the Gentile ways. A very important verse in the book of Vayikra is mentioned. Serious issue. Those who say that you cannot eat turkey on Thanksgiving are saying that it's isur deoraita. It is a prohibition from the Torah itself. Same as eating non-kosher food. And I always want to ask those who prohibit eating turkey on Thanksgiving the question, if I have a choice that I could eat a piece of ham right in front of me or turkey on Thanksgiving, what should I do? If they're going to say to me that it's isur deoraita, a prohibition of the Torah itself, then it should be the same exact situation. You eat this or you eat that. Same thing. You violate one or the other. I dare say that they would not dare say that I should eat ham rather than kosher turkey on Thanksgiving. Or they may. Because they may really hold that it is isur deoraita. Same as eating something that's not kosher. Same as wearing sha'anez. Same as mehalel Shabbat. All these are prohibitions. So that's the question that we have to really analyze. Is it isur deoraita? Or it may in fact be something, in a sense, much more serious than isur deoraita. Do you have a pulpit I could stand, maybe easier? Do you have something I could stand? No. Because I would stand just for the people in the back.
They know you hear.
They can hear you.
You can do it here.
They can hear?
Yeah.
Abdul, good to see you.
Rabbi?
It's really a pleasure.
You're better looking than the last time.
He tells it every time I see him, I tell him the same thing, so. Moose. My earliest child memory of Beit Torah is Abdul Sultan. That is, it's true. Throwing a football. Middle of shul.
And the cigars.
And cigars. That was Abdul. Okay, so the question over here is it isur deoraita or not? That's a question. Or perhaps you want to argue that it's more serious than that because of the very difficult dilemma that we as an American Jewish community face, that of assimilation. And you might argue that this is one further step of the Jewish community assimilating into modern American culture. Jews, by the tens of thousands, by the hundreds of thousands, are assimilating. You should be aware of the statistics. In 1990, Federation conducted a poll that they do every single decade, which put the number of Jews at 5.7, 5,700,000 Jews in America. 10 years later, in the year 2000, there was another poll, of course, and it put the number of Jews at 5.3, 5,300,000 Jews, which means there was a net loss of 400,000 Jews to assimilation and to intermarriage. And you know, of course, intermarriage rate is 50%. You could prove it. New York Times, Sunday, just see the names. The Cohens to the McDonald's. It happens all the time. You look at it.
They're both men.
Nowadays. Correct. Nevertheless, that still is assimilation and still problematic. Get the following statistic. 1 second, David. There are more Jewish children, that is, children who are born to Jewish parents. There are more Jewish children under the age of 18 who are being raised in another religion than there are Jewish children under the age of 18 who are being raised as Jews. True statistic. Absolutely absurd. There are tens of thousands or 100,000 of Jews who are now practicing a form of Christianity. I'm giving a series of classes now on Shabbat afternoon, is how to read Tanakh in answer to Christian missionaries. That is, the Christian missionaries, of course, quote all kinds of Pesukim about a virgin birth, about a suffering servant, about he who was pierced, etc., etc. And what should Jews answer? What should Jews answer the Christian missionaries? And last week in Dio, there were 3 homes that were knocked on by Christian missionaries, Hebrew Christians, and there are 200 Hebrew Christian synagogues throughout this country. And the number they give, New York Times gave the number of 100,000 Jews have crossed over that line. I know 2 Syrians who became Hebrew Christians. One was a 70-year-old grandmother, and one was a 22-year-old kid. Whatever the reason may be. And we're going through their literature to understand what is the appeal. And the appeal simply is what Tanakh is saying. It's what the Bible is saying. And they truly, with great deal of passion, believe that you cannot be fulfilled as a Jew unless you accept Jesus as Savior. So we're losing tens of thousands at the minimum, hundreds of thousands at the maximum, of Jews to Christianity. With all of that, assimilation, intermarriage, losing all these Jewish people, demographers are raising the question, what will be the number of Jews in America 100 years from now? Is there any hope for the future? And it seems to be the case that nobody's painting a very pretty picture. So you can raise the question that even though eating turkey on Thanksgiving is conventionally kosher, and even though you might say it's not a Isur Deoraita of, let's say, Chokotahem lo telechu, still no one wants to raise the question whether or not we are encouraging assimilation to the host culture, to American culture, by celebrating this particular holiday. So we have two issues on the table besides the turkey. First we have is eating turkey on Thanksgiving and Isur Deoraita. Is it a violation of Chokotahem lo telechu? And there are those poskim who hold that it is. We'll talk about that as we go along. And even if it's not, should we encourage a practice that encourages assimilation? If in fact it does. Now, the second question is easy to answer. It seems to me that no one who eats turkey on Thanksgiving sees it as a religious holiday whatsoever, nor does it encourage in any which way assimilation. How do we eat turkey on Thanksgiving? It's very simple how we eat turkey on Thanksgiving. Right? Very simple how we do. It's a gathering of family members who are not working, kids not in school, and it's a very, very nice family day. As George Will had very powerfully put it in his recent article called The Grateful Spread, the pilgrims actually didn't even eat turkey because turkey was very rare in the New World at that period of time, so they probably didn't eat turkey. It was not celebrated as a holiday whatsoever. But rather it's a phenomenon of American culture. So for everybody that we know, for us, we're not in the Midwest, for us, it's simply a day to gather together and celebrate Family Day together. No school, no work, it's a great day. But let's go a step further. Let's say in fact you are celebrating an American holiday. Is there something wrong with that? Raise the question. Is there something wrong with being thanksgiving to Borei Olam, to God, for providing us with America? Is it appropriate to thank Americans by celebrating, along with them, this country called America? David.
So now I come to my question.
I tried to avoid your question.
I know. Here's the question. It says, do not follow their ways.
Right.
So you didn't define who they are.
That's question one. I didn't get to it yet.
Okay. And I would say that that's part of the answer to your...
It is, but we're going to get to it in a second.
You said now about America.
Correct. We're going to get to it in a second. You're right. Absolutely on target. Okay? Give me 1 minute. So, to the contrary, even I would say, we're not celebrating really American culture, whether you eat turkey or not. Even if you are, and maybe you should be thankful for America, thank God for America, thank Americans for America. We should do that which encourages our view that we as Americans are part and parcel of American culture. So one would say that. Get together, have a turkey, say Bekat HaMazon, pray Mincha with the family. Getting together in of itself is a value. It all seems to work out. As long as you're not eating it as an obligatory meal. Don't associate it with a Seder on Pesach. Don't see it as a mitzvah, as a religious deed. That would certainly be problematic, as we'll see as our poskim discuss. Because even the Americans who celebrate Thanksgiving as an American holiday don't see it as obligatory. 1 second. They don't see it as a chovah, but rather as commemoration. They think that the pilgrims ate turkey, therefore they're eating turkey. Now, so if we want to commemorate, then I would say there's no prohibition in commemoration. whatsoever at all. Same as July 4th. Is there a problem that anybody has with lighting a firecracker and celebrating July 4th, Independence Day? No. Is there a problem with Memorial Day, Labor Day? No. Columbus Day? No. So I would put all of these American holidays in the same category of celebration as Thanksgiving. So the same way that I could celebrate Labor Day by not going to work, right? Memorial Day by... Thank you. And Memorial Day by... Memorial Day by the end of World War I and II, so too Thanksgiving. Good. So one question that you want to ask, is this a religious holiday or not? First, yeah.
No, you said it. I was going to ask about the other holidays, where they mentioned, 4th of July, you're going to have barbecue.
Right.
But why is that different from a Thursday?
Okay, good. I would agree. So let's begin, but yeah, Harvey, good to see you.
I would say Thanksgiving is much more.
Uh-huh. How so?
Okay, we're, as Jews, we're supposed to, tikkun olam. We're supposed to teach the world there's one God. We're supposed to spread the word of God, so on and so forth. Here's a day, and just to add to it, Harambam says about Mashiach, when will Mashiach come? When the entire world believes in one God. He didn't say it have to be Jewish, just that they all believe in one God, which obviously will make the world a better place. So here's an opportunity where, what do we have, 200 million people in this country? 300, right? Oh. 300
You
million
blinked.
people are going to say thank you to one God on the same day.
Right.
So why would we say, no, we're out of this one?
Okay, we'll get to it.
It's contrary to our...
We're going to get to it. Hold on, we'll get to it. Now, let's begin a little bit by explaining the history of the holiday itself. I'm going to assume that nobody here has ever heard of Elias Boudinot. Somebody in the back? Nobody? Good, I'm not surprised. Elias Boudinot lived 250 years ago. He was a congressman from New Jersey. But he caused this entire ruckus that we're having today by presenting us with this terrible dilemma. Congressman Boudinot in 1789 proposed in Congress a resolution urging President Washington to, quote, recommend to the people of the United States a day of public thanksgiving and prayer to be observed by acknowledging with grateful hearts the many and signal favors of the Almighty God, especially by affording them the opportunity to establish a constitution of the government for the safety and happiness. So what does he want? A day of Thanksgiving. Right? A huge debate ensued in Congress. And finally, President Washington issued as the first National Thanksgiving Proclamation. He declared that Thanksgiving should be a national holiday with the following proclamation. Now therefore I, says George Washington, do recommend and assign Thursday the 26th day of November next to be devoted by the people of these states to the service of that great and glorious being who is the beneficent author of all that is good, that was, that is, that will be, that we may all then unite, Harvey, in rendering unto him our sincere and humble thanks for his kind care and protection of the people of this country, previous to their becoming a nation, namely the Pilgrims, for the signal and manifold mercies and the favorable interpositions of God's providence in the course and the conclusion of the late war. Late war? 1776. Good. For the degree of tranquility, union, and plenty which we have since enjoyed, for the peaceable and rational manner which we have established, which we have been enabled to establish constitutional government for our safety and happiness, and particularly the national one now lately instituted, for the civil and religious liberty with which we are blessed, and the means we have of acquiring and diffusing useful knowledge, and in general, for all the great and various favors which He, God Almighty, has been blessed to confer upon us. Great statement, George Washington.
Not kosher.
However, it was not kosher, correct. Thanksgiving did not become a national holiday from the years 1790 to 1863, and the question is why? Some speculate because... No? Church and state. The religious nature of his proclamation was, according to some, alienating to many. People were afraid of the church and state issues, so it did not become. So there was no national celebrations of Thanksgiving from 1790 to 1863. Good. So what happens in 1863? In 1863, President Lincoln made the proclamation deciding that Thanksgiving should be a national holiday itself. Good. So now what we have to do is to come back to our second question, right, for David's sake, right, and try to raise the question, how do we define the issue of uchukotehem lo telechu? That's what we want to figure out. How do we define the issue of uchukotehem lo telechu? Good. And you have in front of you your sheets, because we're going to use these sheets to figure out whether or not this is a violation of that particular verse. Now, what does one do when we have a question of this nature? You have a verse. The verse is, Uchukotehem lo telechu. Right? Do not follow in their ways. So the question that I am raising is, how do you exactly define their ways? Who are the there and what are the ways? Right? So what would be your methodological procedure? What would you first do? First step is Talmud. The Talmud is that repository of Jewish wisdom which teaches us and tells us exactly what the Bible meant. Even when the Bible does not mean what we say it means, we still follow what the Talmud says it means. As for example, you have a verse, do not see the goat in its mother's milk. Anybody do that ever? Right? We don't do that. Nobody ever did it. Pagans did it. We never did it. But what does the Talmud say that verse means? The Talmud says it does not mean do not see the goats. What does it mean? Don't eat meat and milk together. Don't get any benefit from it. Don't even cook it together and serve it to somebody else. Can I own a McDonald's? No, because I cannot even cook a cheeseburger together and serve it to somebody else. I can get no benefit from it. So the Talmud in that particular case actually expands what the 5 or 6 biblical words mean. Right? Interesting. So the Talmud is that which tells me over here how in fact to define all of those laws Torah gives us. So the Talmud is critical. But we don't have the time now to go through Masechet Avodah Zarah and see how it defines this term. So what's the next best thing to do? The Rambam. Good, correct, exactly. So the Rambam, we could look into 2 different sources. Look into Sefer HaMitzvot is number 1. And number 2, I could look into his Mishneh Torah. So we'll just look at the Mishneh Torah for a moment. It's not on your sheets, but we'll look at the Mishneh Torah. I'll quote it for you. And it's quoted then in Shulchan Aruch. So the Rambam says, don't dress like they dress. There's specific dress that non-Jews wear. Don't dress like them. And don't act like them. So that's one statement. But that's not the only statement. We also have to look at the others who disagree with the Rambam or elaborate upon what the Rambam says. In this case, disagrees. And Tosafot, which is a medieval commentary on the Torah Gemara itself, tells us that this verse actually teaches us that there are 2 types of forbidden activity. Number 1 is any kind of idolatrous custom would constitute a violation of Uchukotehem lo telechu. Number 1. Give me an example of an American / perhaps idolatrous custom that would be a violation of Uchukotehem lo telechu.
Christmas tree. Halloween.
Okay, Halloween, definitely. Question, is Christmas a secular holiday or is it a religious holiday? Excuse me, any lawyers in our midst? Lawyer. What does the American government say about Christmas and Hanukkah? It is a American holiday, not a religious holiday. It's a legal holiday. Therefore, you're allowed to put a Christmas tree on public property as you're allowed to put a menorah on public property. Garden State Park, where you get a nice big menorah, or in Lincoln Square Synagogue on that street, whatever it is, you can see this huge menorah there. Why? Somebody's church and state. No, it's a secular symbol, which is fascinating. The American government legally has decided that the Christmas tree is not a religious symbol. It's an American secular holiday, and so too is the menorah itself, which is fascinating to think of. So
that's not what it said, Rabbi. It's just about popular culture. It's obviously a religious symbol, as evidenced by recent rulings.
It's a legal holiday.
But it's an American.
Holiday. That doesn't mean that it's not a religious symbol.
They're saying it's not. Otherwise, they could put it on public property.
Lawsuits down that they had to take them down because they are religious symbols.
Those, if I remember correctly, those lawsuits were settled. Those were settled. Yeah? 1 second. Yeah?
The symbol of the Christmas tree may be a legal symbol, and the holiday may be hallmarkized, but the essence of the holiday is the birth of Christ, which is clearly religious.
Good. However, most people don't see it that way in America. It's viewed as a national American secular holiday. I can give you the court case if you want to look it up. If you want to look it up,
Just go into Macy's. You'll see it's not a religious holiday.
here it is. Okay.
Something's not adding up over there.
1 second. 1 second.
So you're saying
American law adopts definition of secular that clearly is of secular. For example, in the court case, Joseph, you ready? In the court case of Kamek versus Wahi, Cammack versus Waihee, a court determined that the holiday called Good Friday was a secular holiday. So too the Supreme Court has ruled that both Christmas and Hanukkah are secular holidays, and both Christmas and Hanukkah are secular holidays, and have secular displays that lack a religious theme. Furthermore, in Lynch versus Donnelly in 1984, in Allegheny versus American Civil Liberties Union, the ACLU fought it and lost. In 1989, all of these cases prove that Christmas and Hanukkah are secular holidays. That's not a halakhic definition, it's an American legal definition. Okay? Yeah, Gina?
But Hanukkah is not a legal holiday anyway. So Hanukkah.
It's not legal, but it's secular. Therefore, I'm allowed to put on public property. In Deal, New Jersey, in front of the courthouse, you have a menorah on public property. Why? If it's a religious symbol, it separates church and state. Answer, it's not a religious holiday. It's not a religious symbol, it's secular. Yeah? Alan?
What do they base that decision on? I mean, obviously, like they said, the reason for the holiday is religious. How did they switch it to become a secular
Because
holiday?
if you look at how people celebrate it, it's not viewed as a religious celebration. It's commercial.
Go to churches and mass. I mean,
Mass would be a religious holiday. Celebrating Mass would be something religious, and thereby prohibited. Jewish law would prohibit you from going to a church and celebrating Mass.
Is they go up on that picker with that thing and they light it.
In New York City, maybe not in Deal.
Not in Deal. So you could argue if you want the cases, you can pick it up. They're saying it's a secular holiday. Yeah, sorry, can't see you. It celebrates independence of the Maccabees who fought the Greeks. Historical. It's not religious. They made it hold by the miracle of the lights. They don't see that. It's a symbol of freedom. National freedom. 1 second. Yeah, Celeste, I think that's you.
Yeah. Do they declare that the Christmas tree is a secular symbol, or is it also the nativity scene of Jesus and Virgin Mary and all the people in the nativity scene?
If I remember correctly, even if I remember correctly, that's not. That should not be. That's not allowed. Right. Right. Yes, correct. Just need a napkin.
Pretend to give me that.
Yeah. Thank you. I'll drown. Build an ark. Okay, I'm building an ark. Sorry?
But the gifts of Hanukkah.
That's different. That's an issue. Okay, but it's not from the American legal point of view, it is not a religious holiday. Okay, wait 1 second. Yeah.
What's American prohibited?
Location, like if I want to celebrate Christmas in Israel, it would be different.
It's an American legal.
You're saying it's an American.
Yeah. It's not halachic. This is an American legal definition of what religious and secular is. Halachically would be very different. We're going to get to that in a minute. So hold on to that. Yeah.
But it's interesting how they choose, because Christmas Day you won't find a single government office open.
It's a legal holiday, that's why.
And Hanukkah, there's no part of Hanukkah that the government all of a sudden shuts down.
It's not illegal. Hanukkah's not legal, it's secular.
Oh, secular.
Secular is opposed to legal, right. Okay, yeah, sorry.
Okay, as we have separation of church and state,
Thank you.
but most of the country is Christian and wants to celebrate it that way, there's going to be objection from the strong minority who are not Christian. So they're forced to go to the position to say that it's secular in order to have these public demonstrations, which the people want because they're Christian.
You're the best.
It's saying something because they're forced to, because of the principle of separation of church and state. We have separation of church and state.
It's a legal fiction.
So it's illegal, so we can't do it, but they want to do it.
Who's they? Who's they?
The people of the country who
Right.
are Christian want to have this display.
Right.
There's a strong minority who would object.
ACLU objected. Right.
Jews might object. So they have to say, they're forced to say that it's secular in order to do it and to not make it.
Why are you? No, I think you're attributing to the Supreme Court. This is a Supreme Court case. I think you are attributing to them motives that are not correct. I don't think they took a poll and sensed and felt that because Americans want to celebrate, therefore we're going to call it secular. I don't think it's a legal fiction at all. They analyzed what the history of it is and how it developed and how people celebrate it, and is there any ritual, or it's just a tree. It's a tree. It's a secular symbol. It's a tree. So that's what they would say.
The Ten Commandments is not allowed, Rabbi.
That's being debated. That's right now being debated still. Some saying no, some saying yes. Actually, it is now allowable. Now it's being the first draft of that particular court debate is that you can have the Ten Commandments. The judge was fired at the point or whatever it was, but now they're changing it. Okay, let's go on a little bit. So now, Tosafot, which defines our issue a little bit more clearly, they say that there are two types of forbidden activities. One is idolatrous customs, as I think we'd agree, Halloween. Christmas, there's a question, because they're saying it's not religious at all. We're saying it's religious. So if you tell me it's religious halakha, then you can't do anything Christmas. Right? Okay, good. You don't go by the American definition of Christmas, you go by the Jewish definition of Christmas, and we would probably agree that it's a religious holiday, idolatrous, and therefore prohibited. Furthermore, Tosafot says, and this is interesting, and you'll see it in print in a minute, any, quote, custom that a society engages in, that though it's not idolatrous in origin, if it's a foolish kind of a custom, in bo ta'am, that has no reason for it, that would also be prohibited. Because the fear is that if there's no rational, logical reason for it, then they're doing it because back there then, it began in a idolatrous context. Right. That's, so far you have Maimonides, then you have Tosafot. Now, Rabbeinu Nissim says, no. He says, only, specifically, any idolatrous practice would be a violation of Chogotehem lo telechu. Only idolatry. He's a much more liberal kind of approach to this. He in the Maharil say that it's only an idolatrous practice. Avodah zarah practice would be prohibited. Period. That's all you can't do. Yeah, David?
Why are you calling him liberal?
No.
He's narrow. He's not liberal.
He's saying, well, he's broader than Tosafot.
No, he's more directed.
Okay, but he's saying he's limiting what's prohibited.
Yeah.
Whereas Tosafot is expanding it. He's defining it much more narrowly. Good. Now, let's look on your sheets on Shulchan Aruch. Share them, please. And let's look at an interesting issue that Shulchan Aruch raises. Okay? Okay. Shulchan Aruch says, because Shulchan Aruch, remember, is the code of Jewish law, and all of those opinions feed into Shulchan Aruch, and ultimately takes all of them into consideration. So he quotes the Rambam, the Tur, all these are the rabbinic minds who've analyzed this question, these ideas. So he says, on your top right-hand corner, Shulchan Aruch, those who don't read Hebrew, I will translate. He says to us over here, Halchot Hokot Avdei Kochavim, number 1. Shelo Lilbosh K'malboshe Avdei Kochavim, don't dress like them. He says, En Holchim B'Hokot Avdei Kochavim, do not walk in the pathways of the idolaters. And don't medamin, don't imitate them. Which is what the Rambam says. Don't use those specific clothes that they use. So you cannot wear, let's say, a priest's collar. let's say.
The Nehru suits.
A what?
Remember the Nehru suits?
Oh, the Nehru suits. Indian, we'll get to in a minute.
No, that looked like...
Yes, it did. Indians, all right, okay, good. So any their specific clothes that's miyuhad lahem, that they specifically wear, you can't wear. Live that's a tzidor shor, and you can't grow your hair in a way that they, as idolaters, grow. Friar tuck. Anybody remember Friar tuck, my friend?
Yes.
You used to like Friar tuck?
Yes.
Good man.
Tactical game farm.
What?
It's right near the tactical game farm. It's not in the Monticello.
Okay. So one cannot do that either. Look at this next line. Do not shave from the sides and allow your hair to grow in the middle. Do not shave on your face from ear to ear and grow sort of like a goatee, I think he means, because that's what the non-Jewish pagans would do. You cannot want to look like a non-Jewish pagan. Furthermore, you cannot build a synagogue the way they build their sanctuaries. It's interesting, because some of these we do, some we don't do. So you cannot build a synagogue, once again, the way that they built their sanctuaries. So you can't build them with these huge doors so many people can enter in at once. So that's his concern. Yeah. Sorry, question? Yeah.
Why are we not going after the way we dress? Because we dress just like that.
Hold on. Good. Excellent point. Excellent point.
I want everybody with a black hat and...
Hold on, we'll get to that in 1 second. Yeah.
A couple of points. First, the word hok or hukah. If we use them in hukim, mitzvot, shpatim, the way we translate hok is that it's a religious statue that it's a god that cannot. It's a mitzvah shem'id. There is no reasoning behind. So why you don't take the same analogy?
Good point.
Only thing is that of the Kochavim don't observe Shabbat Mitzvot Bnei Noach. Now I believe in this country they do.
Okay, those are two very important points. The first point will be addressed by the next Ramah, which means to say that here you have a pasuk, U'chortem lo telechu. The Talmud defines it in a certain way. Right? And then the Rishonim, the early rabbis, they defined it, and they chose to not define the word hawk in that context the way that you're defining the word hawk in that context. They just simply said, in Gemara, they raised the question, what does Uchotem lo telechu mean? So, the Gemara has its opinion, then the Rambam has his opinion, 1,000 years later, the Tosafot, the Ran, Baharik, they all have their opinions as to what this pasuk means.
The Tosafot seem to adopt it when they say it has no ta'am. So if Tosafot says ta'am, they're trying to analogize it
to the word hawk.
Right.
And the context of that pasuk, furthermore, is K'ma'aseh eretz Canaan eshetem ba lo ta'asu u'ch'ma'aseh eshetem ba'im shama. The deeds of the pagans of the Canaanites don't do, and the deeds of the Egyptians, the Canaanites, whose land you're coming, don't go in their ways. So it seems to be an idolatrous context, period. Right? It all revolves around idolatry, it seems to be. So let's look now, in terms of Eve's question, the next Ramah, which says, what does Torah really want from you? Ela yeher muvdal mehem b'man bushav. Be separate from them in your dress. Ubish'ar ma'asav, in all of your deeds. Be different. You're not to assimilate into the pagan world. So he says, "V'chol ze'eno asur ela b'davar shagu bo avdei kochavim l'shem peritzut." Now here's something interesting. All of this relates to only what the pagans did. Now, how do we translate l'shem peritzut?
Morality?
For sexual license. The pagans would dress their women in a certain fashion. Can anybody guess what would be a good pagan dress of a woman who was interested in doing something that's immoral? For example, what color dress would she wear? Red. Why do you say that? Did you read ahead? Okay, the Scarlet Letter. The Scarlet Letter of Nathaniel Hawthorne is exactly that. So he said it's exactly that point. Okay, go on. They would always wear malbushim adumim. Which adumim means red clothes. And they would wear this, and then high government church officials would wear red. They would dress in these immoral, licentious kinds of dresses. That's what really the Ramah is limiting. He's saying, just don't dress in that immoral sexual fashion. So of course none of us do that. Especially at our Syrian weddings. Right? Furthermore, he has Tosafort's point and says, or a custom they have, if there's no logical, rational reason why they do something, your suspicion is, should be concerned, maybe they're doing it for a pagan reason. So anything rational you could do that though they do it. Anything that they do that's not rational, maybe it is for a hidden pagan reason that you cannot do. He goes further and says to us over here, so there's a word also about any irrational items on the agenda, which was Tosafort's opinion, might be related to idolatry. Good, now to him. However, anything they do that is purposeful, logical, and meaningful, you could do. Okay, go on. They do. Whoever is a doctor, he wears, imagine, going back 500-600 years ago, doctors wore distinctive clothing. Can a Jew wear the same distinctive clothing as a pagan doctor? The answer is yes. Because it makes logical sense. Because it shows, it's a sign. It's showing that you are a Rofeh Uman, that you are a prestigious doctor. So therefore you can wear it though a pagan wears it because it's a logical symbol of your profession. Good. Or if they wear, let's say, something because it's honorific. You wear a shirt and tie because that makes it honorific. So therefore you can wear a shirt and tie because it's Mishum Kavod, it's honored to do that. That's allowed. But anything that they do that makes no sense, that may go back to a pagan cause, that would be prohibited. Right? Therefore, are we allowed to? Interesting pagan custom, they would burn any of a king who dies. The pagans did it, Egyptians did this. The Egyptians actually buried the king's slaves and his horses with him in the pyramids, right? Because he had to use them to get to the next world, etc. But in general, they would burn the king's accoutrements. And there's a reason for that. It made logical sense to burn whatever the king leaves behind. We burn, right? So therefore, so we also could do it. We also would be allowed to burn our king's whatever he leaves behind. Because it's not for idolatrous reason. It made good sense to them because it was glory to the king. That once the king is gone, we're not going to ever even use his sharvit, his scepter, let's say. Right? So Jews could do the same thing as well. How about, is it appropriate for a Jewish person to, let's say, have a wake and have the person lie in state? Is any logical reason to have a person lie in state? At all.
We have laws against that.
Yeah. There's logical.
Okay, what would be the logical reason?
It helps them in theory. Psychologically, it'll help them mourning. Some people feel it helps them mourn.
Okay, good. So, therefore, based on the logic of that statement, we are allowed to lie in state or to delay burial if you have a good reason for it. A child wants to come to the funeral and is in California or something, you could delay the burial. If, let's say, they allowed Golda Meir to lie in state, it was not prohibited by the rabbis. Why? Because it was kavod for her and for Am Yisrael that all heads of state should come now and be part and parcel of this. So we do allow it in very few and far between examples. Why? Because we want kavod. So if you have a logical reason why you're doing it, we allow it. Yeah?
Isn't what makes sense to one different to what makes sense to another? Isn't it relative? Or is logical,
good question.
Isn't the term logical relative?
It could be. It could be. It could be. You have to evaluate it logically and see whether it's logical or not.
But it depends on who's evaluating. Maybe
The rabbis. The rabbis would evaluate that it was logical to allow Gold Meir to lie in state because it brought kavod. It's not based on a pagan practice, although it may have been originally, but because it could be attributed to a logical reason, we could do it. Now look at the next line in the Shulchan Aruch. However, he who is close to the royal throne, and he has to wear their clothes and to imitate them, mutar. It's an astounding, shocking statement. Anybody that needs to speak to the government, and therefore dress as they dress, and act as they act, is absolutely allowed to do so. Now, sorry? Okay, well, there's many examples of that. Shmuel HaNagi, correct. Many examples of that. But it's a Sur Deoraita. It's a biblical prohibition to dress like the pagans. Right? Yet Sharuch allows you to dress like the pagans or to act like the pagans. Mutar bakol. What would be your logical, rational reason? Why is Jewish law allowing a rabbi to dress as they dress, to go to their state dinners? Sur Deoraita. And the question would then be, how far can you go? So what would be the logical reason, yeah?
The reason for that would be to bring the Jewish point of view within the government and be able to represent people. Okay, good, or correct, but much more seriously, maybe to save Jewish lives. Right. Well, that's the thing.
So how far can you go to save Jewish lives? So here you're told that I'm allowed to violate the Sur Deoraita to save a Jewish life. Makes sense? So give me a biblical example of one who actually did that. Of somebody that was willing to throw her life away in order to save Jewish people? Queen Esther. She was willing to go the entire 9 yards above and beyond dressing like the pagans, but rather sleeping with the pagan king to save Jewish lives. I'm not bringing her into this. She's a heroine of mine, so I don't see anything bad about her. Okay, good. So now, that's an astounding statement. To save Jewish lives, you could imitate and analogize yourself completely to them. However, the Beit Hadash is a very interesting commentary who analyzed this exact issue. Look on your left-hand column. Mi shekarov l'malchut. Whoever's close to the king, close to the kingdom. But Aita sof perek merubev sof sota. Hiksha be Yosef. He says, he raised the question. Keven de lokea lachad me'elo. In ken medoraita asira. It is a biblical prohibition to do any of these closed business. Right? He raised the question, how could the rabbis allow a prohibition of the Torah to be violated to those people who are close to the throne? How can they allow that? Yesh lomar, answer, Mishum hatzalat Yisrael. Because when you want to save Jewish lives, yesh koach bi'adam li'atir. That's what Beit Yosef says. Now, let me ask you a very provocative question. Would that also allow one to encourage, let's say, his daughter, who, let's say, is very bright, to go to Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Columbia, get a degree in political science, hobnob with all of the great politicians to be, maybe even marry one of those politicians, for what purpose? To bring the Jewish point of view and to save Jewish lives. Is it allowed or it's going too far? Given that's what Queen Esther did. And she didn't know, she didn't know that she's saving Jewish lives at that point. She became a queen over the Persian Empire, involved paganism to whatever degree it was, and again had this affair, marriage. She married a pagan king in order to save Jewish lives, which she didn't know at the time. Maybe Mordechai knew. Now, would we agree that the state of American Jewry is precarious? There's anti-Semitism. Some of you remember the 1973 bumper sticker when they said there was an oil crisis. Those of you my age or a little bit younger, burn Jews, not oil. That was a bumper sticker that we saw. And there are many people that still have latent anti-Semitism. If not overt, but certainly latent anti-Semitism. So would it not make sense? I'm not promoting this. I just want to raised the issue. Does it not make sense that if you have somebody who we know the politicians come from the Ivy League schools, somebody can go to the Ivy League schools and get to know these people, and God forbid that a Jewish girl should, but imagine becoming so intimate with these politicians that 10 years down the road, you, God forbid, know Bill Clinton, in the biblical sense.
Well, we did that.
We did that. Monica Lewinsky, right. We were way wiser than he. So, is that appropriate? So obviously, I take the position that it's not appropriate. But I have to always remember that though I'm saying it's not appropriate, if there is, God forbid, some kind of anti-Semitic wave in this country, and those of you who have questions, read Philip Roth's latest book, The Plot Against America. It's that simple for the tide to turn. And when we dare say that, okay, that was 1937, 1938, now we're 2006, and it never happened over here, we're not that naive. And it's not only a question of what America's all about, it's a question of what Iran's all about. Because if Ahmadinejad gets a nuclear weapon and has said, I'm going to blow up Israel, what's going to stop him? Only America's going to stop him. So it's such a sensitive issue, because there's no rabbi any place that's going to say that one should in fact protect the Jewish people by virtue of having your kids go to Ivy League schools and getting to know these politicians who are going to control the government 10 years from now. Nobody's going to tell you to do that. I agree. One should not advocate that position. But on the other hand, the precarious state of Jews world over is so fraught with danger that one has to at least raise the question. What are you going to do if, God forbid, Iran gets a nuclear device? And he said it. I'm going to blow up Israel. They'll lose 3 million, I'll lose 20 million. No problem. I have 25 million people in my country, and there were 1.8 billion Muslims in the world. We gained. He's that sick. So you may tell me, nobody would do something so sick. Answer? Yes. People are that sick and that fanatical with that kind of zealotry. So you have to be afraid of this issue. So the question is, how do you protect? Is America, without having access to that power, going to risk American nuclear bombardment to save Israel? No. So how do you get and save Jewish people? That's a serious question. Okay? So one might argue that if this indeed is the statement over here, that to save a Jewish life, you can even become like a pagan. That's what it's saying to us over here. Look at the box words that the Beit Yosef is saying. In order to save a Jewish life, the rabbis are allowed to violate a mitzvah of the Torah. Okay, that's the first point. Okay.
Really, you're out there now.
Wait, me or he?
You.
Why me?
We're away from the turkey by a lot, Rabbi. We started off with a kosher turkey. We're now talking about Monica Lewinsky and
him, not me.
Adonijah. I mean, we're out there.
No, we're only raising the point of what is the prohibition involved. The prohibition is do not follow in their ways. Is following the ways eating a turkey on Thanksgiving.
Right.
That's what I'm going to come to in one more second. Okay?
That's what I came here for.
Well, that's what I'm coming to. Don't go away. I have another 5 minutes. Give me 5 more minutes. Thank you. Yes. Yes. Chucky.
We know there's an extremely long tradition from Maimonides to Disraeli to Kissinger to everybody else.
Disraeli converted. Disraeli converted.
But he kept his name.
Yes, he did.
And he was prominently known as a Jew.
Right.
That we always, part of there was no, it doesn't seem that our tradition had any difficulty at any time with accepting this principle.
Correct.
We say, God forbid, we should encourage our children to go to Harvard to become, we do it all the time. That's what we do. That's what
he was saying to
I'm going a step further.
He went further.
I'm going further. It's one thing to go to Harvard, but the second thing is to marry a Gentile.
I'm a politician. You're just saying that.
I'm saying marrying a Gentile.
Oh, marry a Gentile.
That's what I would say.
That's what you're about.
Yeah, David, then I want to go on, because Joseph wants to eat his turkey tonight. Yeah, David, yeah?
You keep talking about doing like the pagans, dressing like the pagans. So are we to assume that Rabbi Yosef Cairo, down to us today, lived amongst pagans?
He did not. He, of course, did not. But he's assuming, as Shulchan Aruch, that Christianity is paganism. Catholicism certainly may be. Christianity in general may not be. But the Rambam, as well as the Bishop of Cairo would say that Catholicism, or all Catholicism is paganism. Protestantism, or any variation of it, would not be. Tosafot would say that no, that Christians or Catholics are not pagans because they believe in Shituf, partnership, that God is a partner, the Son, the Holy Spirit, etc. So he's not saying Tosafot say that it's not paganism, but the Rambam and Shulchan says it is. David, you with me? Yes? Okay, let me just go on for one more second. Now, the Beit Hadash has two more lines that we want to read. He says, no, I don't agree. He doesn't want to follow the statement. There's no question over here that the word, the verse, says no, the Torah only wants to forbid that person that wants to imitate them and be like them, acknowledging their religion. Only acts which acknowledge their religion will be prohibited, but not anything else. So dress any way you want, as long as it's not dressing like a Christian or a pagan. So he says, because those Christians would end up going out with this royal purple clothes, and you're going to say, I also want to go out with royal purple clothes. I want to look like them and be like them. However, if you want to wear a suit, and your intent is not to be like the Christians, or the pagans, and I don't care what their religion. I want to dress like them, just to have a decent standing among them. That I should not be viewed negatively and differently. So if you're not going to look at them as pagans or as Christians, but just dressing normally, that's allowed. That's the Beit Hadash's allowance. You can dress any way you want, just don't do it for the reason of looking like a Christian. Okay, good. Where's what? The Beit Hadash? The Beit Hadash is 100 years after Shulchan Aruch, which is about 17th century. Okay? Let's go quickly now. So now, we spoke about the Rambam, Tosafot, the Ran, Shulchan Aruch, and the Ramah as a clarifying perspective that you want to be different than they in dress and deed. All this is to not do it either l'shem piritzut, immoral behavior, for sexually illicit purposes that we want to avoid. Number one. But number two, also, anything that smacks of idolatry is what you want to avoid, because the verse itself is an idolatrous context. So don't wear red clothes if the red light district clothes are what they're wearing. You cannot wear red light district clothes, right? All that's good. Now, good.
But the back would say you're allowed.
Yes. Yeah, right. Good. Or any law that has no rhyme or reason, which might have been done because of some ancient pagan practice, that you cannot do as well. Good.
Even though nobody knows that that's why they're doing it.
Because otherwise, if there's no rhyme or reason to it, then why are they doing it?
Well, because there's some designer in ancient Greece designed that garment, and we don't know.
Okay, in that case, they assume that it's Takeh Amuri, otherwise you could do it. So, purpose. One second. Now, how about celebrating a birthday party of someone who's from India, who is an idol worshiper? Would I be allowed to do that? If somebody in your office is an Indian, and he happens to celebrate one of the Indian deities, and he invites you to his birthday party, I went to it, well, I had to go. My caretaker was an Indian, and they invited me to come to their temple, their shrine, in their house to bless it. And then they gave me this beautiful silver Kiddush cup, which I didn't want to take, because that was really pagan. So I didn't take it.
But you went.
It was Shalom Bayit. Danny and Marie were very good to me. So I walked into their house, and they said, come over. I said, please bless it. I blessed it. So I did it. Rabbis do a lot of interesting things that we're not trained for. We're not trained for that. Okay, good. On the other hand, can you go to a Christmas party in your office? So would you not agree that the Christmas party in your office is not really a Christmas party, it's rather a secular celebration of people in the office? So then that one would be allowed to do that. So the Indian story, I'd say no. The Christmas party, I'd say yes. Good. Good. Now, putting all this together, give me 2 more minutes of your time. There are 4 significant opinions about the issue of turkey and Thanksgiving.
Can I just make one observation? So how would you relate using the modern way we date things, December 15th? Is that a
December 15th, meaning?
Yeah, using the secular calendar, using their system, and saying
it's not pagan, it's not idolatrous, it's secular. So I don't have a problem with it. Even though the names of my months and days have pagan roots to it, as the Hebrew months as well, though pagan, it's secular. We'd all agree that's secular, not idolatrous, not a problem. Is what we would say. Tammuz is the goddess of the Babylonian goddess. Good. So let me 2 more minutes. Now, the Gaon of Vilna, who's a commentator on Shulchan Aruch, takes a much more stringent opinion. He says any Gentile secular practice that does not have its roots in something Jewish is prohibited, even if it's not related to idolatry. Any act that a Gentile does without a reason or with a reason would be a violation of Chotem. Takes a very broad understanding of the word Chotem. Anything they do that you do is the same. Therefore, many Satmar Hasidim do not wear ties. It doesn't serve a purpose. They see that as prohibited. Boy, it's not idolatrous. No, but it's a Gentile thing. Because it's a Gentile thing that's though not idolatrous, the government will do it prohibited because it doesn't have a source in something Jewish. So therefore, the Gaon Vilna takes the most stringent opinion of how to explain this pasuk. Not idolatrous, any secular Gentile act, whether rooted in reason or not, but that's not rooted in something of Jewish origin, would be prohibited from his point of view. So therefore, let's come down now to applying all of the above about Joseph eating turkey on Thanksgiving or not. Right? So we're getting there. So there's 2 questions we raised. A, is it a pagan holiday? B, does it have rational roots? Does it make any kind of sense? Right? So now, we would all agree that, of course, Halloween is pagan. Good. We might agree also there's no time to it, there's no reason to it, therefore it's a violation of Chotem. Christmas we've spoken about already. But Thanksgiving, would we not say, is not directly related to a Christian ritual, as celebrating Mass is, for example, or, let's say, any other thing directly related to Christianity. This is not so. Because those would be probably asur. This is not asur. Thanksgiving makes sense. Giving thanks that the pilgrims did for surviving the very first harsh winter in the new country, it made sense. Does eating turkey make sense? Well, you might say yes. That if this is a celebration, and the way you celebrate is by having a festive meal, and the festive meal happens to involve a turkey in a commemorative sense, then that makes sense. Because you're commemorating that which they think they did, or that's what we think they did. Right? But it's not really viewed as an actual holiday per se, because really it's a family get-together, not a religious celebration. Right? The eating of the turkey, even by the Americans who celebrate it, is not the ikar, it's not the essence of the day. It's just simply commemorative and not a religious ritual. And therefore, one can say that it's appropriate. Right? Let's say if we want to celebrate this day and give thanks to God Almighty for what He's done for us, and we like to eat turkey. If we like turkey, no problem. If we hate turkey and we're eating it to celebrate it, then that might be a problem. But if you like to eat turkey, then you like. There's a rational reason why are you eating turkey? Because you like it. So that makes sense. Good. So it depends, and therefore, one can do it in that particular issue. So given all of the above, my last point, Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, in 2 separate teshuvot, 1953, 1980, made the following psak halacha. One can eat turkey on Thanksgiving, but you should not make it into a quote-unquote holiday. It should not be viewed as a hiyuv, as an obligation of celebration. He argues, it's not a religious holiday, but a secular holiday. And therefore it's the same as any other American secular holiday, Labor Day, Memorial Day, etc. And they don't see it as a religious holiday either. And there are no necessary rituals involved or liturgy involved with it. So therefore, he allows it. Number one, Rabbi Soloveitchik was asked the same question, can one eat turkey Thanksgiving? He says, yes, absolutely, one can eat Thanksgiving turkey, and one can celebrate as an American holiday. It's American, it's secular, it has nothing to do with religion, he has no problem with it whatsoever. Third opinion, Rav Henkin, who was one again of the great poskim of Brooklyn, sorry?
We shouldn't do it every...
Rav Henkin, correct. Rav Henkin says you're allowed to eat it. It's not a religious holiday, but you should actually skip every second or third or fourth year. Why? To show that it's not a holiday. Right? Now, on the other hand, there are those are three prominent opinions that allow it. Rav Moshe Feinstein, Rav Soloveitchik, Rav Henkin. On the other hand, Rav Hutner, who was a great posek, who sees over here that it is more of it's a Gentile rooted in Christian sources, says one should not eat turkey on Thanksgiving because it is like the Gaon of Vilna said, it is a Gentile custom that whether it's rooted in religion or not religion, one should not do it. So he takes a very far to the right opinion, as does Rabbi Menashe Klein, also says do without it, because it smacks of a Gentile religious custom, though we don't really see it as such. Rav David Cohen, who is a student of Rav Hutner, also says that it's not appropriate to do so, and they also root this in a very strange statement that you're not allowed to add any holidays to the Jewish calendar. So if you're publishing a Beit Torah calendar and you say Thanksgiving on it as a holiday, they would have a problem with that. Don't see it as a holiday. But of course, that question, whether or not you're allowed to add holiday Jewish calendar, is more relevant in terms of Yom HaAtzmaut, Yom HaShoah. Many poskim have a problem with those commemorative festivals because you're adding a holiday to Jewish calendar. Many don't, of course, but that would be relevant to them. Thanksgiving is not a holiday in the conventional sense of the term. It's not something with ritual, liturgy, etc., and therefore many of the poskim allow it, although a minority of poskim do not allow it. A minority of poskim. Is that clear? What are all the issues of? Okay, Harvey, again.
Just an observation. The two main rabbis that you quoted that were against it, that said it's...
Rav Hutner?
No, before him.
The Gaon of Vilna?
and Rav Kook.
I didn't say Rav Kook, but okay. I didn't say Rav Kook. I said cook a turkey, but not... No. Rav Kook. That's pretty good. On that note...
You have to look at his time period.
Right.
His time period was when Reformism was getting strong.
Actually not. He was middle of the 18th century, 100 years before Reform. 100 years before Reform.
But the things were going on. There was all going on. That's when they all put blinders and you know...
The Reform he was worried about was the Hasidic movement. He was anti-Hasidic movement. No Reform. He's 1750, 1760. Around Immanuel Kant. He was talking about Immanuel Kant.
But the turkey wouldn't have been effective.
It wasn't Thanksgiving. He didn't know about the turkey. Right. It was like, yeah, David?
You make rib roast instead of turkey.
I'll come over, yes. 100%. Rib roast is good, yeah. I eat turkey anyway, yeah.
It seems from, I know you did it very briefly, but all those poskim, even the ones that are for and the ones that are against, seem to be missing the focus about the Thanksgiving.
Meaning what?
Meaning that Thanksgiving is not, it's taking the values that are most important. It's not the ritual values, but more of the freedom and ethical values, and therefore I feel like eating the turkey with everyone else in America is connecting me with them to celebrate the
Correct.
values that America stands for.
That's why they're saying it. It's a secular holiday, therefore one should do it. Rabbi Soloveitchik is more pro than Rabbi Moshe Feinstein, and Moshe Feinstein had a little reservation.
But they said even if it's don't make it a hiyuv. But why not? Why not make it obligatory upon ourselves to connect with the rest of the world?
Because we can't add a religious holiday.
It's not a holy day.
It's not a holiday. We can't add a holy day to our calendar. You can't say it's prohibited to work, and we can't do that.
But we don't.
It's not a holy day.
Right.
All of this is a lot of circular reasoning.
They were also anti-connecting with the Goyim. Your desire to connect is not what the rabbis want you to do. That's why you can't eat their food, and you can't eat their bread, and you can't...
Yeah, there is a need to separate.
As long as it doesn't come
not eating with them.
Yeah, he's an extreme position.
So these ethical values that the Christians have adopted, if we want to talk about Christians, I don't really know why we're only focusing on Christians, but they've adopted those values from us.
Right.
Okay,
so
good.
From the Gaon's point of view, then we should be able to go along with this.
He didn't see it in quite that fashion.
Isn't that what he said? Isn't that what you
Yes, but he didn't see the Goyim as adopting our values.
They had it.
What do you mean? The ethical values are...
Yeah, he didn't analyze it in that way. He just simply said, don't.
But we can interpret his word.
Okay, so therefore you would say that we should do, this is an obligatory holiday? Obligation, we must do it?
Obligatory in what sense?
You use the word, not me.
Use the word holy day rather than
Maybe I don't understand piyut when you say
obligation? No, I mean, don't make it into a ritual. It's not a Jewish ritual.
Okay, so we got together with the family, but we're making, somebody should say something when you sit down at the table about, why we're doing this.
Okay, that's fine. They'd say that's all fine.
Rabbi Soloveitchik encouraged it.
Rabbi Soloveitchik is more encouraging, right? He's more encouraging.
Don't make Yishem on Thanksgiving.
Why not?
Okay, that's another question. That's a legitimate question. Okay, should we go that next step? Please don't all talk at one time. Chucky, we'll get back to this question, then we got to go back to deal. So quickly.
All right, I want to answer the opposite. I feel troubled sometimes when I drive around on Thanksgiving and I see school buses in front of some of the very Orthodox yeshivas, and I feel that this is giving a message to the rest of America.
Absolutely correct.
We're not interested in being part of America.
Right.
And isn't that Sakanali?
Absolutely.
And isn't that a danger that we should?
They don't see it that way, and they're wrong. And they're wrong.
And they're wrong.
Correct. We'd agree.
That's a protection attitude. That's not.
One second. Yeah, Michael.
But that's a mitzvah.
Loud.
The point that I think David and before Harvey and Chuck are trying to make is in a factor of halachic, based on halachic decision making. One of the factors that should be considered in this analysis is the connection to Jewish values and the obligation, either hakarat hatov or
agreed.
On a positive side. And at the very least, if you want to take a negative approach, that you shouldn't put the community in jeopardy, or you shouldn't appear to be ingrateful. But that these are not. This is not about connecting with Goyim. It's about connecting with Jewish values, and that is something that should happen.
Okay, good. So, excellent point. What has happened over here is that everybody was so dumbstruck by the celebration question is that everybody took either yes you can or no you cannot, and nobody thought of doing what you're saying, is that turn it into a day of thanksgiving to God in general and connect to your Jewish roots via this particular holiday. But nobody got to that point. That's way ahead of us. We're still worried about, people still arguing, should I do it or not do it? You see what I'm saying?
I'm just surprised that
if you wear a new tie, yes.
No, if you're eating a new turkey.
You last your turkey, don't bother me. Yeah.
And can I further with the Jewishness of the Thanksgiving holiday? The Pilgrims, in fact, left England. So they refused.
It's Holland.
They left England, Rabbi. And then went to Holland and they left England.
I'm going to my sister, okay.
Yeah, first they were English. First of all, they refused to celebrate Christmas. They refused to celebrate Easter.
Okay.
They were Hebraists.
Yeah, some of them were Hebraists.
The Pilgrims were Hebraists, period.
Some were not, but okay.
And they were adamant in their following of almost our ways. They were trying very hard to be close to. So most of our jurisprudence, in fact, is based on that. But it really, really is. And in fact, George Will linked it to the Seder as well. In that
he mentioned it, right?
Yeah. It's really much more of a Jewish root than anything else. It's not a Christian root. They rejected, the Pilgrims rejected the Christian roots because, in fact, they felt that there was nothing in the Gospels at all to support.
It was Thanksgiving. It was only Thanksgiving.
To support Christmas or Easter.
Yeah.
This is something they did.
Oh yeah, I don't want to go into this. Okay, I agree. So what to do? Sorry?
Did you address the Hishem?
I could see instituting rabbinically if the rabbis got together, if they were able to do so. So I'm not worried about this other happening. But if they did get together, I think it's an appropriate question to raise. In the same way, on July 4th, Rav Chaim Labati, I was told that this Yishem on July 4th celebrate America. So it's the same question, that one should not mourn on July 4th for Thanksgiving. Yes, I think it has to be done as a community-wide norm. So that should be discussed. Yeah, Robert.
To refrain from practices that would reflect badly on Jews that they're not in conflict with the greater society.
Example given?
In other words, my brother said, in other words, to sort of show indifference or disdain for American customs.
Absolutely
can
right.
bring negative feelings towards the Jewish community.
1,000%. Yeah, you're absolutely right. It's a terrible story that when people are ignorant or unable to see that aspect of it. At 9/11, we went out and, of course, $2,000 to buy an American flag and hang it in front of the shul. Did everything we do because we had to connect electricity, put a light and everything else. It was more than $1,000, but that's what we had to do to show that it's appropriate. And what we often have done, although this year we weren't able to do, is to bring a whole Thanksgiving dinner, kosher, to the police people of our Ocean Township area. And we've done that to strengthen those relationships. This year, I just didn't have the time to do it. But yes, it should be done to strengthen those connecting links. One should be hypersensitive to that point. It's not. People are not. But it should be. It should be. I don't know, I don't know if the non-Jewish world, Chucky and Robert, see the having of school as something negative. That's an important question. What do they think? Well, do they say that we're betraying our American roots? I don't know if they see that or not. What does the average non-Jewish person say when he sees a school bus in front of a school on Thanksgiving? Does he say that these people are betraying America? Or does he say...
They're denying America.
Or they say ignoring, denying, or they're saying that's their thing, they want to have school.
No, they're not saying that. They don't want to hear one of us.
Okay, if they're saying that, then it's a very negative thing, and then we have to be wary of that.
It doesn't matter.
It does matter, because I don't want to have a Some do. Okay, some do. You're right. Okay. Yes. Any other? David, last question.
What if America was a Muslim country instead of a Christian country? Would it have the same problem?
No.
No, it'd be dead.
No. Muslims are not idolaters. They're not idolaters.
God forbid. Put it that way.
You really wouldn't have this pagan. You wouldn't really have this pagan.
No, it's not right. Because no idolatrous implication whatsoever.
So you could have Thanksgiving if the Muslims were in charge.
You have nothing to thank God for. Thank you all for coming. It was a pleasure to be here.